Welcome to Royal Secret. In a stunning public declaration during a BBC interview that has since gone viral, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, former working royal, and the world's most controversial prince, has made the most explosive accusation of his life. He claims the British royal family is actively trying to get him killed. What led to this? Why now? And what are the consequences of such a damning, unprecedented statement? Stay with us as we break down the full story behind this royal shockwave, how the cracks between Prince Harry and the monarchy turned into a dangerous war of words, how the public is reacting, and why insiders fear this could be the moment that finally destroys the royal family from within. This is not just about Harry and Meghan. This is a story of betrayal, survival, and a family war that has spiraled into something far darker. It all unfolded during a BBC One primetime special, an interview originally intended to focus on mental health, charitable work, and Harry's public campaigns. But what began as a measured conversation quickly spiraled into chaos when the host asked a simple question: "Do you feel safe, Harry? Truly safe? Physically, emotionally, even politically?" The pause that followed was long, uncomfortable, tense, and then Harry dropped the bombshell. "I don't feel safe. I haven't felt safe since we left the UK. And sometimes I wonder if that was the point. If they're trying to get me killed." The room went silent. The host sat stunned. Producers in the control room were reportedly scrambling. What did he just say? "They're trying to get me killed." Not stalkers. Not the press. They. The implication was clear. Harry wasn't talking about strangers. He was talking about his family, the institution he was born into. The monarchy. What does it mean when a prince accuses his own family of trying to orchestrate his death? Royal insiders say this is the most dangerous public statement Harry has ever made. Unlike previous interviews, like the infamous Oprah Winfrey sit-down, this wasn't veiled in metaphor or cloaked in emotion. This was a direct accusation. Some believe Harry was referring to his ongoing battle for police protection in the UK. Since stepping down as a senior royal, Harry has been denied the right to automatically receive taxpayer-funded security. He has fought the decision in court, arguing that as a high-profile target, especially in light of his military history and public criticism of powerful figures, he remains in constant danger. In this context, Harry's statement can be seen as the climax of a years-long fight over safety, politics, and protocol. But others fear the meaning runs deeper, much darker. Some commentators now believe Harry is suggesting there are elements within the royal family, or the royal machinery, that would benefit from his silence permanently. Buckingham Palace has not issued an official response. No statement, no comment, silence. But behind closed doors, sources say the reaction was swift and furious. According to multiple reports, King Charles was apoplectic upon hearing Harry's words, while Prince William was said to be devastated and disgusted. Royal aides were reportedly summoned to emergency meetings within hours of the interview airing. Damage control was priority number one. One senior palace official, speaking anonymously, told a respected British outlet, "This goes beyond family grievances. This is dangerous, reckless, and possibly defamatory." Harry is not just accusing his family of betrayal, he's implying criminal intent. Another royal source added, "It's one thing to criticize the monarchy. It's another to say your own father or brother wants you dead." And perhaps most worryingly, the source warned, if this escalates, there may be consequences. Legal consequences. As the interview clip circulated online, the public reaction exploded. Within hours, Prince Harry trended globally. British morning shows scrambled to cover the story. US networks picked it up by dawn. And YouTube was flooded with reaction videos, commentary, and furious debate. In the UK, responses were deeply divided. Some British viewers were outraged. "He's lost the plot. This is treasonous," said one caller on LBC radio. "If he truly believes this, he should press charges. Otherwise, this is just dangerous slander." Others, however, expressed sympathy and concern. "I believe him," said another caller. "This man lost his mother to the media and a palace that didn't protect her. Why wouldn't he fear for his life now?" Across the Atlantic, American reactions were notably more supportive. Talk shows in New York and Los Angeles praised Harry's bravery. Mental health advocates applauded him for speaking his truth. And once again, the Sussexes found themselves embraced by a segment of U.S. media as victims of a cold, outdated system. But the question remained, was this the moment Harry finally crossed the line? Harry's chilling claim echoes a tragic chapter in royal history, the death of Princess Diana. When Diana died in that fatal 1997 Paris car crash, pursued by paparazzi, ignored by security officials, and allegedly betrayed by the palace, millions around the world mourned. But many, including Harry, never accepted the official narrative. Harry has repeatedly said he believes more could have been done to save her. That she was left vulnerable. That she was allowed to die. "I can't help but feel some part of this system wanted her gone," he once said. Now, more than 2 decades later, he's implying history is repeating itself. With him, the royal family failed to protect Diana. Will it now fail to protect her son? Or worse, is he suggesting they're not failing, but intending? Royal legal teams are reportedly exploring possible responses. While Harry carefully avoided naming specific individuals, his phrasing could still expose him to defamation claims, especially if members of the royal family feel directly implicated. Defamation law in the UK is strict, and even a vague public suggestion of criminal behavior can lead to serious legal consequences. However, the challenge for the palace is greater than just legality. Any move to sue Harry would confirm deep division and open the monarchy to scrutiny it may not survive. One royal expert explained, "They're trapped. If they ignore him, he dominates the narrative. If they challenge him, they risk confirming everything he's said about being silenced, controlled, and punished." Back in Montecito, where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle now live in near isolation behind gates and security patrols, reactions to Harry's BBC interview reportedly sent shockwaves through their inner circle. Sources close to the Sussexes say Meghan was not surprised by her husband's on-air revelation. In fact, she allegedly encouraged him to speak out months ago, but Harry was hesitant, unsure if the world was ready to hear just how deep the betrayal ran. Meghan has always felt that the royal institution is capable of cruelty behind closed doors, said one insider. She believes they turned a blind eye to the threats against her and Archie. She stood by Harry because she saw it too, how his fears were dismissed, how his protection was stripped, how his voice was silenced. And now, the world has seen that fear. The couple's private security team, which reportedly costs over $2 million per year, has been placed on high alert. Meghan, ever the strategist, is said to be preparing for yet another media blitz, not to stir controversy, but to control the narrative before it spirals into full-blown crisis. Insiders claim the couple may even produce a follow-up documentary, picking up where Harry and Meghan left off. A working title. One producer close to Netflix projects said it bluntly, "The palace wants me dead." To understand how it got this bad, we have to go back to a key moment in 2020, Megxit. When Harry and Meghan officially stepped down as senior working royals, the public was told it was a mutual decision. But behind the scenes, bitterness ran deep. The Sussexes expected security arrangements to continue as they carried out charity work and represented the crown abroad. But the royal household said no. Harry offered to pay for his police protection out of pocket. That too was denied. He was told he'd have to fend for himself. The same man who once walked behind his mother's coffin at age 12 while the world watched was now being told by his own family, "You're on your own. I was born into this. I didn't ask for it. But I'm not allowed to protect my family." Harry once said in court, "What am I supposed to do? Wait until something happens?" The relationship with his brother, Prince William, deteriorated rapidly. What had once been a tight brotherhood, Diana's boys against the world, fractured into cold silence. According to multiple royal insiders, William was furious over Harry's accusations, not because he thought them untrue, but because he feared the consequences of making them public. He felt Harry was blowing everything up. That going public was putting all of them at risk. But Harry believes the silence is the danger. What we are witnessing now isn't just a family feud, it's an invisible war between one man and the oldest institution in British history. According to royal watchers, Harry believes the monarchy is not just outdated but actively dangerous, capable of protecting itself at any cost, even if that means sacrificing its own. And while the Queen's death in 2022 might have been seen as an opportunity for healing, Harry has implied that it only made the machine more ruthless. The institution survives by shedding its weakest, said one former royal staffer. They see Harry as a threat. They don't want to debate him. They want him to disappear. But Harry won't go quietly. Not anymore. He's already hinted in previous interviews that there are secrets he hasn't revealed. Letters, records, testimonies. The BBC interview may just be the tip of the iceberg. Outside the palace gates, protests are beginning to form. At Buckingham Palace, several dozen supporters of Harry and Meghan gathered with signs reading, "Protect Harry, no justice, no crown," and "Diana's son deserves safety." Social media has erupted with calls for an inquiry into how the royal family handles security and threats against estranged members. On TikTok, younger generations are calling this moment the beginning of the end for the monarchy. One viral video, stitched with Harry's interview and footage of Princess Diana's funeral, reached 12 million views in a day with the caption, "They tried to silence his mother. They won't silence him." Meanwhile, traditionalists are fighting back. The Daily Mail has published several op-eds calling Harry delusional and paranoid, suggesting that his mental health is in crisis and that Meghan is encouraging instability. One columnist even compared Harry's behavior to a monarchist's worst nightmare, a prince with nothing left to lose. And perhaps that's what terrifies the palace most, a prince who's lost everything but his voice. This isn't just a British scandal, it's global. In the United States, Harry and Meghan are back on major talk shows. Anderson Cooper, Gayle King, and even late-night hosts are speculating what Harry meant, and how far he's willing to go. A CNN special segment titled, "Royal Betrayal: Harry's Last Warning," has drawn comparisons to Watergate and other major whistleblower moments in modern history. Even world leaders are starting to weigh in, subtly but significantly. The Canadian Prime Minister's office declined to comment on Harry's claims but emphasized that all former senior royals residing in Canada at any point were protected according to law. French officials confirmed increased chatter around high-value threats linked to royal family exiles. And one EU intelligence source told Reuters, "We're not in the business of taking sides in family drama. But when a royal starts saying he's being hunted, we have to listen." So what happens now? The monarchy is at a crossroads. King Charles, barely 2 years into his reign, is facing a nightmare scenario, his own son accusing him, indirectly or not, of attempting to orchestrate his death. For a monarch who spent decades waiting in the wings, desperate to modernize and protect the institution, this is not just a PR crisis. It's a legitimacy crisis. Can a king rule a kingdom while ignoring the desperate warnings of his own flesh and blood? Some political analysts believe this may force Parliament to get involved. Already, MPs from opposition parties are calling for greater transparency about royal finances, security arrangements, and oversight of the monarchy's powers. Others suggest this could finally ignite a serious Republican movement in Britain, one that calls for a vote on the future of the monarchy itself. If a prince can't be safe, what does the crown actually protect? Asked one political commentator, and if it doesn't protect its own, why should it exist at all? Thanks for watching and please don't forget to subscribe.